Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you all so much for joining. Sorry for the delay. I was facing some internet issues. It's raining here. So, sorry for that. Let's get started with our Mangalacharan prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Om Ajnanatirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Vena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamani Dadati Swapadantikam Namaham Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namani Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshivani Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasana Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Guruve Gaura Chandrai Radhikai Gadalaya Krishna Krishna Bhaktai Tadbhaktai Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachali Pangam Langayate Guru Yatkathavatam Brahmande Shri Guru Dinatari Paramananda Madhava Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwara Hare Krishna dear devotees, thank you once again for your very kind association. So let's get started. Sorry for the delay. We are going to today see chapter number 8 of Canto 2, where Parikshit Maharaj is asking his questions. So we are continuing that chapter. Today is the last section of that chapter. So Parikshit Maharaj had asked many questions about Jiva, about Ishvara, about Kala, about Prakriti, Karma. So this way he has posed a lot of questions that how the Jiva, which is spiritual nature, come in contact with the material world, how the Jiva becomes contaminated, and what are the commonalities between the Lord and the Jiva, and how Brahma, who appeared from the navel, has a similar form, but again, what is the difference between the form of Lord Brahma and the form of the Lord Ishvara? Then where does Karanadakshay Vishnu lies? How the Garbhodakshay Vishnu carries out his duties? How what is the kalpa, what is the timeline between one creation and annihilation. So this way he's asking so many questions about universe and what is the dimension of the universe, what are the characteristics of Varnashrama, about the different yugas, manvantaras, yuga dharmas, about the activities of yuga avataras, how the Supreme Lord will come in different form in different yugas, and then what activities he performs, and what is Swadharma, what are the actual dharma of a jiva, how the jiva gets delivered from the samsara chakra, what are the conclusions of Upanishads, Vedas. So many questions. Practically the entire chapter is just the questions being asked by Parikshit Maharaj. And all these questions lead to the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. So from here onwards, means after this chapter, whatever Sukadev Goswami will be speaking till 12th canto will be just answering Parikshit Maharaj questions that he has asked in this chapter. And they will be further elaborated in canto 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 11th. And finally, the 12th canto will be the conclusion. So this way he asked so many questions. And today we will try to end this chapter. And I'll share my screen. So as part of Bhakti Vaibhav course, what you need to know about this chapter is few questions that Parikshit Maharaj asked. So you can memorize few questions. So as a part of Bhakti Vaibhav course, you should have an idea. Like question can come that how many, like list any 5 questions that Parikshit Maharaj asked from Sukadev Goswami in chapter 8, canto 2. Kind of this. So 5 to 8, you should know some questions and try to, not the Sanskrit, but just the English, that is enough. Okay. So we will continue. We last time stopped at text 21, and this is 22 that we will be starting. Yo vanushayanam sarga Ashandasya cha sambhava atmano bandha moksha cha vyavasthanam sarupata. Somebody can read the translation.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Please also explain how merged in the body of the Lord living beings are created and how the infills appear in the world. Also, please explain how the unconditioned living entities exist. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Madam. So he's asking how merged in the body of the Lord, living beings are created. So we all know that we jivas are always in the body of Karana Udakshay Vishnu, right? Mahavishnu. So he's asking that please tell me how the jivas, they are created. How first they are in the body of Karana Udakshay Vishnu and how they come out. And not only the living beings, he's asking how the infidels means those who are pashandis, how do they appear in the world? What is the reason for them? They are also in the body of Mahavishnu only. Then how, first of all, they develop this pashandi nature, this infidel nature, and how they also appear. Please explain me in detail. So he is asking the appearance of the jivas, how this, who were merged in the body of the Supreme Lord at devastation, and how the creation takes place. So then he's asking about the conditioned, means how the bondage happens. And not only the bondage, I also want to know about the liberation also, how they are liberated. So everything I want to know. Prabhupada writes very beautifully that the progressive duty of the Lord must inquire from a bona fide spiritual master how the living entities merged in the body of the Lord, they come back again at the time of creation. So this is the relevant question. That is why it is relevant, because this is the root cause of our existence. Why we were there in the body of Karanadakshay Vishnu, what was the reason and why we chose this material world? Why not we chose the spiritual world and enjoy serving Krishna there in Krishna's abode? Why we chose to be our own Ishwaras and be in this material world and then entangled life after life. So this is the main reason for us to be in this world, that we have been given the choice and we chose wrongly and accepted the material world instead serving in the spiritual world. So what was the reason behind it? So all these questions are very, very relevant question. If we don't know the root cause of our existence, how we can be detached from that root cause, how we can cut down that root cause and go to the spiritual world. So this is the reason it is very important. We should not ask spiritual master about our material problems because he is a spiritual master. He is not some mundane master. So spiritual master should be asked only spiritual questions that how we can get out of this world which is full of dukkhalayam in which we are suffering life after life, time immemorial we have been suffering in this world. So what is the reason why we are here and how we can go back to the spiritual world? So Prabhupada then says that these are the two kinds of living entities. One is ever liberated, that is Nitya Siddhas, and another is unconditioned living entities, that is Nitya Siddhas, as well as the ever conditioned living beings, which are Nitya Baddhas. So there are two. They are ever liberated, unconditioned living entities, and they are Nitya Siddhas. And we are Nitya Baddhas, ever conditioned living entities. Out of those Nitya Baddhas, of the ever conditioned living entities, there are again two divisions. One is they are faithful, and the other is they are infidels. Of the faithful, there are again two divisions. One are devotees, and one are mental speculators. So two living entities, right? One is Nitya Siddhas and the Nitya Baddhas. Nitya Siddhas are always in the spiritual world serving the Supreme Lord. In this material world, only the Nitya Baddhas, the conditioned living entities, are there. Out of those Nitya Baddhas, there are two. One are the faithful people, and other are the infidels, those who oppose the supremacy of Lord Krishna. Of the faithful, again, there are two. One are devotees, and the other are mental speculators. The mental speculators, they desire to merge into the existence of the Lord or to become one with the Lord. Whereas the devotees of the Lord, they always desire to keep their separate identities and constantly engage in the service of the Lord. That's the mood of a devotee. The devotee doesn't want any happiness if that happiness is taking away the service of Lord Shri Krishna. The devotees don't want any kind of sukha, any kind of heavenly planets, any kind of apavarga or brahmaloka or anything. If that happiness is taking him away from the service of Lord Shri Krishna, the devotees who are not fully purified, as well as the empiric philosophers, they become conditioned again during the next creation for further purification. Because someone can ask, well, devotees also have to take birth? Yes. The devotees also have to come back to this material world if they are not fully purified. Yes, they are on the path, but it may take some time for them. Because unless and until we are fully purified, it is impossible to go back to the spiritual world. Even the iota of desire is left to enjoy separately from Krishna. Krishna won't accept it at any cost. So they again come back to this creation for further purification. Such conditioned souls, they become liberated by further progress of devotional service of the Lord. Maharaj Parikshit asked all these questions from the bona fide spiritual master in order to become fully equipped in the science of God. So this was his question, and this will be very nicely answered in the third canto, fourth canto, and in the 11th canto, also in the Uddhav Gita section. All these questions will be answered by Sukadev Goswami. Text 23. Yathatma tantaro bhagavan vikritatma mayaya visritya va yatha mayam udasate sakshivat vibhu. Somebody can read the translation.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
The independent personality of Godhead enjoys his pastime by his internal potency, and at the time of annihilation gives them up to the external potency, and he remains a witness to it all.
Hmm. So now, even Parikshit Maharaj is saying that the independent personality of Godhead, he enjoys his pastimes with his by his internal potency. The Supreme Lord appear in this world in different incarnation by the power of his internal potency. Ajopi sanna atma bhutanam ishwaropi san prakritim samadhisthaya sambhavayatma mayaya. By his own Maya Shakti, the Supreme Lord comes, incarnates, performs his pastimes. And then at the time of annihilation, he gives them up very easily. Why? Because he's an epitome of renunciation. He gives up everything and finally he hands it over to the external energy and he remains simply a witness. He's aloof of everything. Again, Prabhupada writes in his purport, Lord Shri Krishna, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the fountainhead of all incarnations. Yes, he is the fountainhead. Ete chamsa kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. He is the fountainhead of all other incarnation, is the only independent person. Rest all are dependent on Lord Shri Krishna. He is Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. He enjoys his pastimes by creations as he desires and gives them up to the external energy, that is Mahamaya. So he appears by his Yoga Maya Shakti, by his internal potency, but then he gives up everything to his external energy at the time of annihilation. Now, Prabhupada is giving the example that how by his internal potency he kills the demon Putana. He performed a lot of superhuman activities, uncommon activities, because the sixth day child, how it is possible to kill such a fearful, fierce demon like Putana. So he kills the demon Putana with his internal energy, potency, even though enjoying his pastimes in the lap of his mother Yashoda. And when he desires to leave the world, then again he creates the pastime of killing his own family members, that is Yadukul, and remains unaffected by such annihilation. So this pastime will come in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where it was impossible to destroy the Yadus, but it was time for Krishna to wind up his pastimes. So he created those pastimes by which the Yadus, they killed themselves. And finally, the entire Yadu dynasty is annihilated, and Krishna also winded up his pastimes and went back to his abode. There he became the witness of everything that is happening. Yet he has nothing to do with anything. He is aloof. He is independent in every respect. So Maharaj Parikshit desired to know this perfectly, how a pure devotee should know. So how the pure devotee should know about these pastimes? So Parikshit Maharaj also desired that I also want to know this entirety of Krishna Leela. Then in 24th he says, Sarvam eta cha bhagavan richato me anupurvasha tatvato rahasi dharatam prapanyaya mahamune. Somebody can read translation.
Translation, Jai Srila Prabhupada. O great sage, representative of the Lord, kindly satisfy my inquisitiveness in all that I have inquired from you and all that I may not have inquired from you from the very beginning of
Go ahead.
Of my questions. Please impart full knowledge in this connection.
Yeah. So he's saying, I am a soul surrendered unto you. Thank you, Mataji. So Parikshit Maharaj is now asking, he's saying that this is all that I want to ask from you, Sukadeva Goswami. So please satisfy my inquisitiveness. I have all these questions in my mind, and none of them was something mundane. Oh, how will I get rid of this curse? I don't want to die. Who will take care of my kingdom? Who will take care of my children? How they will rule further? He left behind all these mundane questions. Seriously, if we would have been in the position of Parikshit Maharaj, we would have been so bewildered and would have been asking from here and there, what should I do? I'm stuck here. I got cursed and now I have nowhere to go. In 7 days, I'm going to die. Somehow or other, this curse could be mitigated. So many, anxious questions. We would have been anxious, and these questions would have put us into so much of anxiety that we would have asked, at least I'm talking about myself. A little bit suffering comes, and we have so many questions so that we can somehow come out of the sufferings. But that's not the right attitude. The devotee attitude is that when that suffering comes, he just take shelter of holy name, just take shelter of Lord Shri Krishna's lotus feet and ask for strength that, oh Krishna, I know these problems, these sufferings have come, but actually it is you who sanctioned it. So I don't want to blame anybody, whether the suffering is coming through Adhyatma, through Adi Daivik or through Adi Bhautik, doesn't matter. They are mere the instruments, but actually it is being sanctioned by you. So if you have sanctioned it, that means there must be some cause. So you please give me the strength so that I can come out of it. And we completely take shelter of holy name. So, but here, our Parikshit Maharaj is he's asking all spiritual questions to Sukadeva Goswami. And he's saying, oh, please satisfy my inquisitiveness that I have inquired from you. And then he can say that, oh, I am, after all, a mortal living being. So I have so many imperfect senses. I am illusioned. I have a tendency to commit mistake. I have a tendency to cheat. With all these four defects, there may be some questions that I have left it out. So I want answers of those questions also, which I have not inquired. So this is the humility. This is the mood of Parikshit Maharaj, of a devotee. The devotee wants to know the entirety of Krishna and his creation aspect, his maintenance, and his annihilation aspect. So he's saying that, okay, as far as my intelligence go, I have asked these questions. But I know my intelligence is not perfect. So there may be many important points that I may have left out. But I want you that you please be merciful on me and answer me all that I have not inquired from you. Because now I am a soul surrendered unto you. So you impart me the right knowledge that I need. In purport, Prabhupada writes, this is the spiritual master. The spiritual master is always prepared to impart knowledge to the disciple, especially when the disciple is very inquisitive. Inquisitiveness on the part of disciple is greatly necessary for a progressive disciple. So this is inquisitiveness. We should not accept any spiritual master just for name's sake. That, oh, yes, I have a guru. No, you have a spiritual master. So now what is our duty is to pariprashnena sevaya. We should serve him with utmost humility and ask him the right questions. And those questions should not be in the mood to challenge spiritual master that how much he knows. We cannot expect spiritual master to know everything. Okay. So though he knows, he may not reveal to us. Or maybe we are not the right candidate where he can reveal to us. So there may be a number of reasons. But a disciple should be very inquisitive. The more the disciple is inquisitive, the more the disciple asks some relevant questions and at the same time serve the spiritual master is pleased. And the advancement of spiritual master, advancement of a disciple lies in the satisfaction of the spiritual master. The more he is satisfied, the more the devotee, the disciple, makes the advancement. Okay, and this is a divya gyan. This is the transcendental knowledge. So it has to be revealed in the heart by the mercy of the spiritual master. So therefore, he is saying that maybe there are some questions that I have not asked. So you please reveal the answers of those questions also in my heart. And this is Prabhupada is also saying. So inquisitiveness on the part of disciple is greatly necessary for the disciple to progress. Maharaj Parikshit is a typical disciple because he is very inquisitive. If one is not inquisitive not about material thing, but about self-realization. One need not approach a spiritual master simply to make a show of discipleship. If we don't have any spiritual questions, then better not accept any spiritual master. Then be happy in your material world, in your mundane world, and then enjoy the happiness and face the sufferings. But if we are really inquisitive and if we are really pained by staying in this world, even though so-called flickering happiness are coming often, still, if we are pained in this material world, if we recognize the real disease of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, if we really want to get out of this material world, then we should accept a spiritual master and indulge in Pariprashnena Sevaya, in asking his questions and serving him in a very, very menial way. Only then the spiritual master will be pleased and he will reveal the real truth about the absolute truth to his disciple. So we should not just accept simply to make a show of discipleship. This is really wrong. So not only is Parikshit Maharaj inquisitive concerning all that he has inquired, but is also anxious to know what he has not been able to inquire. This is another humility of a devotee. The devotee knows that he is not perfect in everything. His intelligence is not perfect. So there may be many important points that he must have left out. So he's covering that also, that, oh Sukadev Goswami, you please tell me everything, even that which I have not inquired. Because factually, it is not possible for a man to inquire everything from the spiritual master. But the bona fide spiritual master is able to enlighten the disciple in every way for the disciple's benefit. That's why we pray, Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah, that you are the one who is holding that torchlight of knowledge, and I am totally in ignorance, totally in darkness. So you please show me that torchlight of knowledge and enlighten me eternally. So this is the reason that why we should accept a spiritual master and follow in the footsteps of great Mahajans like Parikshit Maharaj. So this way he ended his question. And now there must be a reason, Sukadev Goswami might say that you have already, so many sages have come when you were facing this problem. There were so many sages who were present at the banks of river Ganga before Sukadev Goswami entered. So there are many other sages also you have inquired. Why you are asking me again? Because Parikshit Maharaj has inquired all these questions, not all these questions, but some of the questions he has also asked from other sages also. Then why you are asking again to me? So naturally, this is the question that Sukadeva Goswami might have. So before he could say anything, our Parikshit Maharaj, he says, Atra pramanam hi bhavan parameshti yathatmabhu apare chanudisthani purvesham purvajai kritam. That, oh Supreme Lord, in this master, oh my spiritual master, oh Srila Sukadeva Goswami, Atrahi, among all the sages, those who are present, why I'm posing these questions to you? Why am I asking to you? Atrahi, definitely from you. Why? Because you are the right authority. Atra pramanam hi bhavan. Bhavan means in a very respectful way. You yourself is the right authority. Why? Parameshti yathatma bhu. Because you are just like Brahma. How Brahma is born directly from the Lord. And he was the one who got the first knowledge because he is the first living being created. So he got the knowledge directly from Krishna. So you are like that Brahma. Just like Brahma got the knowledge and others just follow Purvisham Purvajai Kritam. They follow the knowledge that was suggested by a previous authoritative. So Brahma is actually the one, the first created living being who got this knowledge. So, yes, I'm not saying the other sages do not have the right knowledge of the other subjects, but still I'm asking, I'm longing to seek answers from your lotus mouth because you are like Brahma, who by the mercy of the Lord, he became knowledgeable and he got the knowledge of the entire Vedas. Similarly, I'm asking you why? Because you are coming in that disciplic succession. You are coming in that authority. Sorry, Tulsi Gopi Mataji, I saw your raised hand. Go ahead. You want to read the translation?
Hare Krishna Mataji, my daughter wanted to read.
Yes, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Go ahead.
Translation. O great sage, you are as good as Brahma, the original living being. Others follow custom only, as followed by the previous philosophical speculators.
Speculators. Very nice. Thank you, Vedan. So he's saying you are like good as Brahma.
Speculators.
Why? Because you are coming in a disciplic succession. So I want to ask you, how Sukadeva Goswami was coming in a disciplic succession? Because first the knowledge was imparted to whom? To Lord Brahma, because he was the first created being. Then from Brahma, the knowledge was passed on to his son Narad Muni. We saw that how Narad Muni asked all these questions to his father Brahma. From Narada, it went to Srila Vyasadeva. From Vyasadeva, it went to Srila Sukadeva Goswami. From Sukadeva Goswami, it went to Suta Goswami. So this way, the entire parampara system is there. So he's saying you are the authority. There are many other sages who are present, and they may be very senior to Srila Sukadeva Goswami. Prabhupada writes, it may be argued that Sukadeva Goswami is not the only authority of the perfect knowledge in transcendence, because there were many other sages and their followers. Contemporary to Vyasadeva, or even prior to him, there were many other great sages like Gautama, Kannada, Jaimini, Kapila, Ashtavakra, and all of them, they have presented their philosophical path by themselves. Patanjali is also the one. So we know that these are the rishis of the great school. We have 6 divisions of the school, right? 6 darshans, which has been mentioned. Like Gautama, he was perfect in Nyaya. Then we have Kapila, who is perfect in Sankhya. Then we have Kannada, which is Vaisheshika. Jaimini, which is Purna Vimamsa. Patanjali, he gave the yogic system. So there are different schools and there are different rishis. But the difference between the 6 philosophical paths that were put forward by the renowned sages above mentioned, like Gautama, Kannada, Jaimini, Kapila, and that of Sukadeva Goswami is as presented in the Srimad Bhagavatam is that. What is the difference? That all the 6 sages mentioned above, they speak the facts according to their own thinking. And this is what is philosophical speculators. But Srila Sukadeva Goswami presents the knowledge that comes down directly from Brahmaji, who is known as Atmabhu, or born or educated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he comes in the authoritative line. So therefore he says that I consider you as the real Praman, as the real evidence who can give me the entire knowledge of this spiritual path. So Vedic transcendental knowledge descends directly from the personality of Godhead. By the mercy of Brahma, the living being of the universe was enlightened from Brahma and Narada, from Narada to Vyasa, from Vyasa to Srila Sukadeva Goswami. This is what is known as Avaroha Pantha, the descending process. Rest others are Aroha Pantha, where through their mental speculator, they want to come to a certain conclusion, which is wrong, which is not, may not be absolutely right, because after all, we have certain defects. But when it passed down from the seniors, from one acharya to another, to another, to another, then it becomes more enhanced. Like the example is given that when you want to see the star, you are in this world, you want to see a star through the medium of telescope. So how do you see? You put lens. So there are not one lens, there are multiple lenses. And through those multiple lenses, you are able to see that star which you want to see in the sky, right? Through the medium of a telescope. These multiple lenses are the parampara, the disciplic parampara that we are in. So we cannot bypass these lenses. Otherwise, we will not be able to see. The purpose of the telescope will fail. So this parampara system, these lenses, they are the acharyas of the disciplic succession. And that is what is avaroha pantha. When it is passed from one acharya to another, to another, to another, it gets more enhanced with their realization. And when it reaches to us, it is completely pure realized facts. So this way, this knowledge is being transferred to Srila Sukadeva Goswami through his father Vyasadeva. Thus, the knowledge being received from the chain of disciplic succession is perfect. One cannot be a spiritual master in perfection unless and until one has received the same by a disciplic succession. A perfect disciple only can become a perfect spiritual master. That is the secret of receiving this transcendental knowledge. The 6 great sages that are mentioned above may be great thinkers, but their knowledge by mental speculation is not perfect. However, perfect and empirical philosopher may be in presenting his philosophical thesis, but such knowledge is never perfect because it is produced by an imperfect mind, and we have imperfect senses. Such great sages may also have the disciplic successions, but they are not authorized because such knowledge does not come directly from the Supreme Lord Narayan. And therefore, no knowledge can be perfect. For everyone's knowledge is dependent on the flickering mind, and mind is material. Thus, the knowledge presented cannot be perfect. Mundane philosophers, being imperfect in themselves, disagree with other philosophers because a mundane philosopher is not a philosopher unless and until he presents his own theory. So intelligent persons like Parikshit Maharaj do not recognize such mental speculators, however great they may be. But they hear from the authorities like Sukadeva Goswami, who is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the Parampara system, as especially stressed in Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, we should follow the Parampara. And that is what is the time and again Prabhupada also mentions a bona fide spiritual master. Except a bona fide spiritual master. That spiritual master who comes in us Parampara. And we have 4 Vaishnava Sampradaya which are bona fide. Why? Because all the 4, they received the knowledge directly from Krishna. Like we see our Brahma Sampradaya. Our Brahma Madhva Sampradaya is the Dvaita Sampradaya, where Brahma got this knowledge from Lord Shri Krishna directly. And then it was passed on, and in that Sampradaya we come. Then we have Sri Sampradaya, where Lakshmi Devi was enlightened by Lord Shri Krishna personally. And from her, the entire Sampradaya comes, and the Acharya is Sri Ramanujacharya. Then we have Rudra Sampradaya. In Rudra Sampradaya, Lord Shiva was personally instructed by Lord Shri Krishna. And in that we have the Acharya known as is Sri Vishnu Swami. And finally, we know the 4 Kumaras, they were also instructed by Lord Shri Krishna. when before they were Brahmavadis, but then they become personalists and they were instructed directly by Narayan. And therefore, that sampradaya is also a bona fide sampradaya, and the Acharya is Nimbarka Swami. Now, with the passing of time, we see that the Rudra Sampradaya and the Kumara Sampradaya, they have been not much prevalent these days. But yes, we have lot, especially the entire South India, we see that they are being influenced by Sri Ramanujacharya, and they have come under this category of Sri Sampradaya. And then we have our Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, which is again a bona fide Sampradaya. So this way, why Prabhupada says is bona fide Sampradaya. Now, it doesn't mean that only those who belong to Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya are perfect. All the four Vaishnava Sampradayas are equally important and are equally potent to liberate their disciples from the clutches of material existence. Therefore, all the Vaishnava Sampradaya, all the four Vaishnava Sampradaya, they are perfect and they are bona fide. Yes, I saw the raised hands of Padmini Mataji.
Mataji, I was a little interested in the Avaroga component that you told, and I was also about to ask about this Sampradayas. Do they have the same concept? Because later on I would forget to even ask. That is why I raised my hand, Mataji.
So what was your question?
That you were talking about Avaroga concept of this.
Avaroha.
Yeah. So disciplinic succession.
Yeah.
That holds good for, that means from Krishna it descends down to our acharyas, and from acharyas we receive.
Mhm.
That's right, mother. Whereas
Yes.
speculators, they speculate and then they pass on, so that becomes arogna concept.
That becomes Aroha, yes.
Yeah.
So all the bona fide Vaishnava Sampradaya, they follow the same system, that is the
Oh.
descending process. All the four.
All the
Because
four.
pass on
Okay.
from one Acharya to another Acharya.
So is it connected to this infidels? People who don't understand this, only they become their own concepts they put in the other way, and then is that the reason people don't accept it? And
Yes.
is
Yeah,
it right?
if the people, they have their own speculation going on, then they will not accept an Acharya.
Acharya as well as a concept, so they become atheist
Yeah,
eventually,
they
right,
will
Mother?
become atheist. Yes, very true. They
Yes,
become
ma'am.
atheist eventually. If they
Basically,
don't
so this
follow.
is this Avaroga concept is what we should remember in mind when we preach. Also, tell people. Otherwise, they are going to, at some point they will shift towards being an atheist because they think they know
Yes,
too much
very
without
true.
guidance. Yes, but thank you,
Yes,
Mother.
very true.
So all the four will have the same Avaroga concept.
Concept, yes, Avaroha, because it's a descending process. It comes down. Right? Very
Thank
true.
you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yes, Tulasi Gopi Mataji. Tulsi Gopi
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji, I had two questions.
Hmm.
One is that in Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, is there a story behind how we connect with the Madhva Sampradaya? Because they are not into Radharani worship, right? From
Yeah,
as
they
far
are not in Radharani worship. So this started actually means after Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who comes under this sampradaya. Then the start of Radharani comes because he is non-different from Srimati Radharani. Before, this concept of worshipping Radharani was not there. And that's why in Srimad Bhagavatam also, directly her name is not mentioned. So it's after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who came and who introduced the worship of Srimati Radharani. So there was a big fight that happened in the Vaishnava Sampradayas also. And they didn't expect the Gaudiya Sampradaya to be a bona fide Sampradaya. They said, no, this is all concocted. Who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? What is his identity and how you can prove? And another reason was that every Sampradaya, to be bona fide, is that they have to write a commentary on Srimad Bhagavat, on the Vedanta Sutras. And we didn't have any commentary on Vedanta Sutras because we considered Srimad Bhagavatam to be the original commentary on Vedanta Sutras. It starts with Janmadhyasya Yadaha. So the reason is that nobody no Acharya in our line thought of writing any commentary on Vedanta Sutras because Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary and they accepted it. But rest of the Acharyas, they didn't. So there was a big debate that happened in Jaipur. And at that time, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has already winded up his pastimes. He was not on the planet. And then this news came to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. But Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur was also in his old age and was not able to travel from Vrindavan to Jaipur to participate in the debate and prove that they are the bona fide Sampradaya. So finally, he sent Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan to Jaipur. And Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, who is also in our disciplic succession, he came and he said, there was a big debate that happened, but finally they all said that no matter what, we will not accept you as a bona fide Sampradaya, that because you don't have a commentary on Vedanta Sutras. So he also said that Srimad Bhagavatam is there, but they didn't accept it. Finally, he went to Govind Dev Ji. At that time, Govind Dev Ji was in Jaipur because Aurangzeb had come and he has made the whole devastation in Vrindavan. So all the deities have to be moved to various places. So Srila Govind Dev Ji was in Jaipur at that time. So he straight away went to Govind Dev Ji. And then he came back to that debate and said that I will give you this the commentary on Vedanta Sutras, I will give you within a week time. So they were thinking that how is it possible, But finally, Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, it has been said that Govind Dev Ji personally recited and he wrote the entire Govinda Bhashya, the commentary on Vedanta Sutras. And after presenting this, which was flawless, all the Sampradayas, they were thinking that how could he write such a flawless commentary on Vedanta Sutras, for which there was no way that they could counter-argue with Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan. So they accepted this as the right authority, means the right bhashya that he has written, and he named it after Srila Govind Dev Ji as Govinda Bhashya. Just like Srila Ramanujacharya, who wrote the commentary on Vedanta Sutras, and his commentary is Sri Bhashya. And even Shankaracharya, he didn't touch Srimad Bhagavatam for sure, but he wrote this commentary on Vedanta Sutras and he's known as Sharirik Bhashya. So this way, when Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan wrote this commentary on Vedanta Sutras as Govinda Bhashya, there was no way that somebody could counter-argue with the understanding with which he has written the commentary on Vedanta Sutras. Why? Because it was personally dictated by Srila Govind Dev Ji. So after that, they introduced the worship of Srimati Radharani and they accepted the worship of Radha and Krishna together. And that's how our Sampradaya became a bona fide Sampradaya. Thank you. So now is text number 20.
I was wondering how we had.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mataji, I was wondering how we had why we link to Madhva. Like, is there a reason out of the 4? Like, is there some?
No, because Madhvacharya comes in the line of Brahma Sampradaya, right? We have the entire list.
Okay. Means understood. That's why. Okay.
So Madhvacharya has this Dvaita, that we are different. And after that, Mahaprabhu came and he said that he propounded that philosophy of Achintya Bheda Tattva.
Okay, and a quick second question I had was that Kapil mentioned in that previous verse, we were saying he's not bona fide, so he's not the son of Devahuti incarnation Kapil Dev, but he's the atheistic philosopher Kapila for Sankhya.
Yes.
Okay.
That is the Sankhya philosophy that he brought.
Okay, the other atheistic Kapil,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Text 26. Nameshava parayanti brahman annashanadami pibato chuta piyusham tadvakya divinishratam. Now our Parikshit Maharaj, naturally, he says that I want to answer. I want the answer of all these questions from you, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, because you are bona fide and you come under disciplic succession. And then he says, Nami Shava Parayanti. Don't think that I will become exhausted. I can never, my life will never become exhausted. Brahman Anna Shadami. Though I have been fasting, Anna Shana means that I have left all Anna. For 7 days, Parikshit Maharaj, this was actually the first day only. But for the entire 7 days, and then when he renounced everything, Parikshit Maharaj was fasting. He took up this fast from Anna, from the grains, basically he was not eating and drinking anything. So he says that don't think that I have not been eating and drinking, so my body will perish or my body will become exhausted. Why? Because Pibata Achyuta Piyusham. I'm drinking the nectar of Lord Achyuta from your lotus mouth. I'm drinking this. I'm drinking about Achyuta Piyusham, the nectar that is of the Supreme Lord, the glories of the Supreme Lord. And that too, I'm hearing from you. Tat Vakya Abdi Vinishritam. I'm hearing from you because you are the Abdi. You are the Abdi. You are an ocean of that knowledge. And from your lotus mouth, I'm getting that knowledge which is flowing down like a river. So therefore, my thirst, my hunger, everything is getting quenched. My thirst is getting quenched and I'm getting satisfied from all that hunger. Why? Because I'm drinking the nectar of Achyuta. I'm drinking the nectar of Lord Shri Krishna's pastimes. Somebody can read the translation.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pronounce. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ji ki jai. O learned Brahmana, because of my drinking the nectar of the message of the infallible personality of Godhead, which is flowing down from the ocean of your speeches, I do not feel any sort of exhaustion due to my fasting. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Nishant. So he says, I'm not feeling any kind of exhaustion because I'm drinking the nectar. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, the disciplic succession from Brahma Narada to Srila Sukadeva Goswami is particularly different from others. The disciplic succession from other sages are simply a waste of time. So all the other sages that the names that have been mentioned, it's a simply waste of time because they are devoid of Achyuta Katha. So if some special, their philosophy is getting propounded, what is the use? Even if that philosophy is true, what is the use if it is devoid of Achyuta Katha, if it is devoid of Krishna Katha? So the message of the infallible Lord is the most important. The mental speculators can present their theories very nicely by some reasoning and arguments. But such reasons and arguments are not infallible. They are being defeated by other mental speculators. So Maharaj Parikshit was not interested in such dry speculation, but he was interested in the topics of the Lord factually because he felt that by hearing such a nectarian message from the Sukadeva Goswami, he was not feeling any exhaustion, even though he was fasting because of his imminent death. Now, Prabhupada then writes that one can indulge in hearing the mental speculators, but such hearing cannot endure for any length of time. One will be exhausted very soon. And no one in the world can be satisfied simply by hearing these unnecessary, useless speculations. The message of the Lord, especially from the personality like Srila Sukadeva Goswami, can never be tiring, even though one may be exhausted from other causes. And this is true. If I tell you my story, my life story, I'll tell you. One time you will hear, 2 times you will hear, 3 times maybe you'll hear out of some courtesy. But 4th time you will get bored. Every time Mataji has to tell the same story. There is no use. But now if I keep on telling Krishna Katha, maybe that pastime of, like Damodar Leela or Putnavad or Kalia Leela. So many Leelas Krishna performed. And so many times we have been hearing every preacher or every vakta, everyone who gives classes, will say the same pastime over and over and over and over again. But we never get bored. Why? Because it is Achyuta Katha, it is Krishna Katha. It is always pleasing and it is always relishing and it is always newer and newer. That is the beauty of Krishna Katha. The entire Kartik month, we go to different houses and we preach this Damodar Katha. So practically every day we speak on Damodar Katha, but we never get tired. We never get tired. That is the beauty of Krishna Katha. So if somebody is hearing the message of Lord Shri Krishna, naturally they will never get exhausted. And if they are getting exhausted, and if they have this thought, oh, Basi, I've been hearing this again and again now, it's boring, that means they have not relished Krishna Katha. If we are getting bored after hearing Krishna Katha, it's the time to check on ourselves that no, we are not on the right path. Now, Prabhupada is saying this last line, Tad Vakya Abdhi Vinishritam. Because you are an Abdhi, you are an ocean of speech, and from your lotus mouth, this nectar is flowing down. But Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, actually Prabhupada only says that in some editions, the last line of the words reads as Anyatra Kupita Dvijat. So he says, Name Shava Parayanti Brahman Annashanad Ami Pibato Achyuta Piyusham, then Anyatra Kupita Dvijat. So this is also right. Why? Because he says that this means that Parikshit Maharaj is telling that, O Srila Sukadeva Goswami, do not worry. I am asking you so many questions, right? And I'm ready to hear the answers, no matter how much time it takes. Why? Because I'm not exhausted. This is all Krishna Katha. And my life here is not disturbed because of such fasting. Why? What is the reason? Because I'm hearing Krishna's pastimes. So he's saying that in this endeavor, you should not worry about my difficulties. Anyways, this Anyatra Kupita Dvijat, this angry Brahmana. So we know who cursed Parikshit Maharaj. It was Shringi who cursed, who was the son of Shami Krishna. So he was also a Brahmana. And Brahmanas are Dvijas. Dvijas, why? Because they are twice born. First birth is through seminal birth from mother and father. Another birth is through the birth during initiation, when they get the Gayatri mantras. So he's saying that anyway, that Brahmana is the Dvija. So that angry Brahmana will come in the form of a snake bird. And the snakes are also Dvijas. Why? Because the snakes first come, the egg comes out, and then from egg, the snake comes out. So it is the two process. So first is coming as an egg, and then egg hatches into a snake. So he's saying even the snakes, birds, our teeth, they are also called as dvijas. So he's saying that anyatra kupita dvijat. Otherwise, if I keep thinking about my problems because I've been fasting and I don't indulge in Krishna Katha, then it is useless. Because anyways, that Kupita Dvijat, that angry Brahmana who has cursed me will come in the form of Takshaka and will do his duty and will take away my life here. So my life will anyway get end. So don't think that I have been fasting and, I'll be suffering and I'll be facing so many difficulties. But don't worry about that. So that Brahmana, that angry Brahmana who cursed me will come in the form of Takshak. He is also Dvija. He will come and he will disturb my life years. He will take away my life years. So anyways, my life is going to end. So better I may focus in drinking the piyusham, the nectar of Krishna Katha. So therefore, he is pleading to Srila Sukadeva Goswami that you please do not make any delay in answering all my questions. The snake is also twice born, and its anger is compared to the cursing Brahmana who was without good intelligence. So Maharaj Parikshit was not afraid of death, but for he fully encouraged by the message of the Lord. One who is fully absorbed in Krishna Katha can never be afraid of anything in this world. Bhaja Hure Man Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare. So anybody who does this bhajan of Krishna Katha, he is never afraid of anything in this world. He is abhayam. He is fearless. Text 27. Now our Parikshit Maharaj, he has asked all his questions. So our Sukadev Goswami is now concluding. So this is Sutavacha. Sa upamantrito ragna kathayam iti satpate brahmarato vrisham prito vishnuratena samsadi. So our Sutta Goswami says that, oh, you have asked so many questions, and all these questions, O Raja, O King, whatever you have inquired, Upamantrito, whatever you have inquired is related to the Katha, is related to Katha of Satpate. Satpate refers to the highest truth. Or Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that another meaning of the word Satpate is Krishna. Krishna is known as Satpate because he is the highest truth. The knowledge of him is the highest truth. So whatever you have inquired will lead to Krishna Katha. So I am very much pleased. I am very much happy. Brahmarato Prisham Prita. Brahmarata refers to our Sukadev Goswami because he was protected by the Supreme Lord in the womb of his mother. Right? Sukadev Goswami was protected. So he is known as Brahmarata. Brahmarata means protected by the Supreme Lord Brahman. So, and Brisham Prito, he was very happy after getting inquired by whom? By Vishnurat. Now, our Parikshit Maharaj was also protected by Lord Shri Krishna. So he is known as Vishnurat, Samsadi in that meeting. So our Sukadev Goswami was very pleased when that Brahmarat, when Sukadev Goswami heard the inquiries from Vishnurat, who is Parikshit Maharaj. So he was very pleased. Why? Because now whatever Sukadev Goswami will speak will be Satpate, will be the Katha of Satpate, will be Krishna Katha, will be the Katha of highest truth. Somebody can read the translation.
Sutta Goswami said, thus Sukadev Goswami, being invited by Maharaj Parikshit to speak on the topic of Lord Sri Krishna with the devotees, was very much pleased. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Madhuri. So, Sutta Vacha. Now, Sutta Goswami, the camera has moved to Naimisharanya, where Sutta Goswami is answering the questions of all the sages. So, remember how first the sages, they asked these questions about creation, maintenance, and annihilation from Sutta Goswami. And that Sutta Goswami says that, yes, I will tell you, because the same question was asked by Parikshit Maharaj to Sukadev Goswami. And then Sukadev Goswami also narrated Parikshit Maharaj by quoting a conversation that happened between Narad Muni and Brahma. Right? So this is how the conversation is taking place. So now Sutta Goswami says that Sukadev Goswami, when was further inquired by Parikshit Maharaj, our Sukadev Goswami was feeling very pleased. Srimad Bhagavatam can be legitimately discussed only among the devotees of the Lord. This is what is Sajatiya Sangha, that we should always discuss the topics of the Supreme Lord among the devotees only. Others may feel offensive, and when they feel offensive, they may commit further offenses. So as Bhagavad Gita was authoritatively discussed between whom? Between Lord Shri Krishna and Arjuna. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is considered to be a postgraduate study, is discussed between the scholars like Srila Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. Otherwise, the real taste of nectar cannot be relished. So the preacher should be perfect and a disciple should be perfect. The master should be perfect and the disciple should be perfect. If they fulfill the categories of the perfect disciple and the spiritual master, the relishment is beyond expectation. So Sukadev Goswami was very pleased because Parikshit Maharaj was not at all tired in hearing Krishna Katha. Rather, he was more and more anxious and showed interest in hearing further topics. Foolish interpreters unnecessarily tackle Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam when they have no access on the subject matter. We have seen that even the mundane scholars who have no idea of the supremacy of the Supreme Lord, they also have an audacity to write a commentary on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Now you can think what influence their Bhagavad Gita will be. It's not that Prabhupada was the first one to write. There were so many commentators on Bhagavad Gita, but none of them were so influential that they could make a single devotee of Lord Shri Krishna. But Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita today is so widely spread, of course, by the mercy of all our book distributors, but otherwise also, Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita is having the right message, so easy to understand the verses. If you take any other Bhagavad Gita where Prabhupada's purport is not there and you start reading, actually I did it. Before coming into Krishna consciousness, whenever I used to touch Bhagavad Gita, it would go above my head. I would never able to understand that from where it is starting, where it is ending, and therefore my inclination was towards Ramayana. I read Tulsi Das Ji Ramayana because I was very much interested in some, spiritual topics. But after coming into Krishna consciousness and relishing Bhagavad Gita by Prabhupada's purport and through my Shiksha Gurus, where I got the explanation of every verse in great detail, now I think that, wow, it's so easy to understand. What's so difficult in Bhagavad Gita? It is simple. It's all because of the mercy of those devotees who have explained it so nicely. And of course, Srila Prabhupada's purport, which is so crystal clear that any layman who takes up that Bhagavad Gita and study nicely can understand Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. So why? Because Prabhupada was a devotee of Lord Shri Krishna, and a devotee knows what is the heart of my Supreme Lord, and therefore he will reveal the heart of that Supreme Lord only. But foolish interpreters, they have no access to it. Unnecessary, they take up such subject matter and they try to write commentary on it. There is no use. And Prabhupada says even Shankaracharya, who was actually non-different from Lord Shiva, who was personally sent by Lord Shri Krishna. He has the full authority, but still he also didn't touch upon Srimad Bhagavatam for writing any commentary on Bhagavad. He didn't. He wrote the commentary on Vedanta Sutras, but he never touched Srimad Bhagavatam. In this commentation on the Bhagavad Gita, Sripad Shankaracharya accepted Lord Shri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Moravati. But later on, he commented from the impersonalist view because the people were not ready. The audience was not ready. So he has to come down onto the level of audience and presented that impersonalist view. That was his purpose of coming in this material world. But being conscious of his position, he did not comment on Srimad Bhagavatam. If he would have commented on Srimad Bhagavatam, with no way he would take this impersonalist idea. No way at all. Because Srimad Bhagavatam is simply the pastime of Lord Shri Krishna and his devotees. So how can they have the pastimes if the Supreme Lord is formless? So therefore, he didn't even touch the commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Sukadeva Goswami was protected by Lord Krishna. Therefore, he is known in Brahma Vivarta Purana, and therefore he is known as Brahmarat. And Shri Parikshit Maharaj was also protected by Vishnu, and therefore he is known as Vishnurat. As devotees of the Lord, they are always protected by the Lord. It is clear also in this connection that a Vishnu Rath should hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Brahma Rath, and no one else should unnecessarily misinterpret this knowledge, because that will spoil their valuable time. Text 28. Praha Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Brahmane Bhagavat Proktam Brahma Kalpa Upagate. So this, he spoke, our Sukadeva Goswami, our Brahmarat, he spoke the scripture which is known as Bhagavatam Nama. And what this Bhagavatam is? Puranam Brahma Samhitam. It is the essence of all the Vedas. And who spoke this, which was first spoken by Brahmane Bhagavat Proktam. This Bhagavatam was first spoken by Lord Brahma, to Lord Brahma, Brahma Kalpa Upagate. On the very first day of Lord Brahma, this Bhagavatam was spoken by the Supreme Lord only to Lord Brahma. And this Bhagavatam is the essence of the Vedas. And now this Bhagavatam will be spoken by Srila Sukadeva Goswami. Somebody can read the translation.
May I read, Mata?
Yes, please.
He began to reply to the inquiries of Maharaj Parikshit by saying that the science of personality of Godhead was spoken first by the Lord himself to Brahma when he was first born. Srimad Bhagavatam is the supplementary Vedic literature, and it is just in pursuance of the Vedas. Hari Bol.
Thank you. So this is Brahma Samhitam. It is the sense of the Vedas. All the Vedanta Sutras, they are there in Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary on Vedanta Sutras. Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of the personality of Godhead. The impersonalist always tries to misinterpret the personal feature of the Lord, not knowing the science of this great knowledge that is Srimad Bhagavatam, which is in the pursuance of the Vedas and the scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead. To learn this science, one should take shelter of the representatives of Srila Sukadeva Goswami and follow in the footsteps of Maharaj Parikshit without foolishly attempting to interpret, thereby committing a great offense at the lotus feet of the Lord. The dangerous way of interpretations by the non-devotees class of men have played havoc in understanding the Srimad Bhagavatam, and a careful, sincere student, a spiritual seeker, should always alert in this matter if he at all wants to learn the science of God. Therefore, time and again, Prabhupada warned us, O Vaishnava Mukharani, you should never hear Srimad Bhagavatam from a person who is not a Vaishnava or who is reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam for one's own livelihood. We should always hear from a bona fide devotee of the Supreme Lord, because then the real message of Srimad Bhagavatam will be conveyed to us. So if we really want transformation in our life, the Srimad Bhagavatam is enough to bring transformation in our life. And the proper shift in the consciousness can be brought by the study of Srimad Bhagavatam, provided we hear from the right sources. Last verse for today, text 29, and the last verse of this chapter 2. Yat yat parikshit rishabha Pandunam anuprachati anupurvena tat sarvam akayatum upachakrame. So our Parikshit Maharaj, who is Rishabha, Pandunam, who is the best of the entire Pandu dynasty, anuprachati, he goes on inquiring the beginning to the end and everything that he wants to, and he finally prepared himself. He finally prepared himself. Who? Our Sukadeva Goswami. When Sukadeva Goswami was asked these questions by Parikshit Rishabha Pandunam, the best of the Pandu dynasty, our Parikshit Maharaj, when he inquired, our Sukadeva Goswami started preparing to answer these questions of Parikshit Maharaj. Somebody can read the translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Mataji.
Yes.
He also prepared himself to reply to all that King Parikshit had inquired from him. Maharaja Parikshit was the best in the dynasty of the Pandus, and thus he was able to ask the right questions from the right person. Hare Krishna.
That. Thank you, Prabhu. So our Sukadev Goswami also prepared himself to reply all that King Parikshit has inquired from him. So even he has to prepare himself. Now he doesn't prepare like me or like others where they make notes and they have to say something, but he was spontaneous in his preparing. But he assembled all the questions in his mind, and he assembled all the answers also in his mind. And thus, in one sense, he prepared himself when he was asked these questions. And our Parikshit Maharaj was also glorious because he asked the right questions from the right person. So this is very important. When we stick to the contest and we ask the relevant questions to a perfect speaker or a perfect preacher or a perfect spiritual master. So right questions have to be asked from the right person. Maharaj Parikshit asked many questions, and some of them very curiously to know things as they are. But it is not necessary for the master to answer them in the order of disciples' inquiries. So, how Parikshit Maharaj asked? It's not that Srila Sukadev Goswami will answer in a chronological order. Okay, this was your first question, this is the answer. This was your second question, this is the answer. That's not how the spiritual master answers. Yes, the disciple can ask so many questions, but the spiritual master will discuss all those questions. He'll touch upon all those questions, but when the right context comes. Okay, but Sukadev Goswami, experienced teacher, he answered all the questions in a systematic way as they were received from the chain of disciplic succession, and he answered all of them without any exception. Means it was not a single question that was left unanswered. Sukadev Goswami answered all the questions of Parikshit Maharaj, may not be in the right order, but he touched base upon all the questions and in the right context he answered. And you will see in the future chapters also, when Sukadev Goswami was answering, he was answering Parikshit Maharaj's question, but Parikshit Maharaj became so curious that he would stop Sukadev Goswami there and then, and he would ask further questions. Okay, then what happened next? I want to know. So this way, his inquiry was very enthusiastic, and he himself was very enthusiastic in hearing, and he got totally absorbed in Krishna Katha. The time and again we will see that he will stop Srila Sukadev Goswami and he'll further inquire that don't stop here, just don't answer, give me a one-line answer. Sometimes he would say that please elaborate, I want to hear more. And that is what is the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the second canto, 8th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Questions by King Parikshit. Thank you, everyone. We will stop here. It's already time. We are right in time. Yes, Tulsi Gopi Mataji, you want to say something?
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for the wonderful class. I had a question that two questions. One is that is my understanding correct that the reason after Mahaprabhu left this world and our sampradaya, I guess, connected with Brahma sampradaya because Bhagavatam is through Vyasadev and Brahmaji, right? So is it that the other sampradayas have other shastra primarily, like Shri
No.
has Ramayana? Is it like
Srimad Bhagavatam is accepted by all the bona fide sampradayas.
okay. Okay, so I was wondering why we would have chosen Brahmaji versus Shri or Rudra or the Kumar, or is there any
Actually, see, our
explanation on
Our
that?
Lord
I
Chaitanya
thought they all follow
Mahaprabhu, he
different
took the
scriptures. That's
teachings
why
of all the sampradayas. It's not that he stuck to this Brahma Sampradaya only. He took the teachings of all the other Sampradayas and then he propounded this philosophy of Achintya Bheda Bheda Tat. So therefore, he said that all the Sampradayas are bona fide and he took the teachings from all the Sampradayas and he propounded this philosophy. And all the Sampradayas, they accept Srimad Bhagavatam as the authority.
Okay, Mataji, and when Parikshit Maharaj was cursed, did the other kings, usually what happens is when someone knows that a king has died suddenly or is about to die, the envious, inimical people, they try to immediately plan to take over. So was that like something happened like that? Like someone
No,
tried to attack or?
no, because Parikshit Maharaj was not just a king, he was an emperor. So the entire Bhumandal was under him, not just planet Earth. He traveled even to the different lokas also, the different dweepas also. So he was an emperor of this entire Bhumandal. In the first canto, in the purport, Prabhupada mentions this.
Okay, Mataji, thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, Rupal Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Actually, I have a question from this Prahladanand Prabhu. He posted one sloka, Tarko Pratishtha Shrukayo Vibhinna. So, Mataji, does it mean that even by reading the Shastras, one may not get the knowledge? It says, by hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self-realized person. So, could you please help to understand? So,
See, if
how?
we keep on reading the Vedas on our own, then definitely it is not possible to understand the right way. So every will, see, with our own understanding, it is not possible. Okay? Because Sanskrit is such a language which has so many meanings. One word can have different meaning. Like we see the word Hari. The meaning of Hari. What is the meaning of Hari? Do you know?
The one who take away all your problems. Hari,
All your inauspiciousness. He takes away all the Mangal and he gives all the Mangal. He's a Mangal Karta. That is one meaning of Hari. But Hari also means lion. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known as Gauda Hari, golden lion. Hari also means monkey. So there are so many meanings to one Sanskrit word. So if we keep on analyzing with our own understanding, we may come to different conclusions. So Tarko Vishta, therefore there are many tarkas. There may be many meanings to one verse. But Mahajena Gatasavanta. The real meaning comes when we follow the authority. And through right authority, we get the right understanding. Right?
So Mataji, right authority means
In the disciplic succession, Avaroha Panta.
So what my question was, like, I'm doing this, but is there any other path I have to follow, just in addition to?
No other path. You have to follow the authority. You should surrender unto a bona fide spiritual master. Only then the right understanding will be revealed. The understanding of the spiritual matters you don't get in some academic schools, university, or colleges. That you study under someone and then you get the right knowledge. No, that right knowledge has to be studied properly under the authority, under some authority, as Prahladananda Prabhu has already mentioned this verse. Mahajeno Gata Sapanta. You have to follow a Mahajan. And that too, that knowledge will be revealed in your heart. Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashita. It gets revealed in the heart of a devotee, in the heart of a disciple. So yes, there is no other way. Other way may mislead you, but this is the right way, the right process. When you follow, you will get the right understanding.
So here, the solid truth of religious principles is hidden in the heart of unadulterated, self-realized person. So that is Guru. Is that what it means in this?
That is Sri Guru. It is hidden in the heart of an ultimate self-realized person. So naturally, when you follow that self-realized person, that realization will come to you also.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Pranadananda, for setting so many verses.
Haribol Mataji. Who is Mahajan? Bhagavatam defines 12 Mahajans. Ajamil Upakyat. Swayambhu, Narada, Sambhu, Kumaro, Kapilo, Manu, Prahlad, Jan, Vishnu, Mari, Maya, Sakhi, Mayam. So these 12 are the great authorities. And, if you follow their stutis and other things, you're on the right track. Another thing I want to add is that, His Holiness Radha Govind Swami, he assures us so much, so many lectures that, we are on the correct bona fide path. So I just wanted to add that, Mata.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Prabhu. So there are Mahajans also that has been mentioned, and one who follows the path of the Mahajans. That is what is our sampradaya. We have to follow in the footsteps of the great acharyas. Unnecessary, see, the path is very long. We don't know the right route. We don't know the right process. Unnecessary if we try to walk on our own and we face some traffics, some detours, then naturally will try to avoid the path and take some of the detour, considering that we will reach early. But spiritual path is such where no detours have to be taken. So better follow the path which Mahajans have already followed, which the great authorities have already followed. They know the flaws of that process. They know the best of the process. They know everything. So if you follow the process, if you follow the footsteps of the great acharyas, then we will also land to the same destination. It may take time, but the process and the route is flawless. So try to follow the process. Try to have this avaroha pantha, this descending process. Try to understand the spiritual matters in a right understanding by following the footsteps of the great acharyas. And then our life is success. Thank you, Prahladananda, for adding that. Okay, so where are we? Somehow I lost. Okay. Any other questions? Let's stop sharing so that I can. Okay. Okay, dear devotees, then we will stop here. Next, coming Friday, we will start the 9th chapter. 2 more chapters, 9th and 10th, and then please get yourself prepared for your open book exam. Start sending your shlokas also. Learn the shlokas, start uploading them, and then the closed book exams will be open for you. 2 more chapters to go, so you have time. Let's start doing it. Okay, so let's stop now. Pancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhayeva patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, all the assembled Vaishnavas ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear.
Mataji ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Ending the